The Drop Back with Sam Lewis, Matt Burns-Peak and Joe Costanzo.
Hi and welcome to the first ever episode of the Drop Back podcast, where we cover all things American football for the UK fan base. My name's Sam Lewis and I'm joined by Matt Burns-Peak.
How's it going, Salou?
And Joe Costanzo.
Howdy doodly.
Such a creepy ending.
So basically, when we were watching American football and listening to broadcasts, generally we find them overly Americanized and not really suited for the UK audience. Now there's a growing audience here in the UK and they're usually very informed. But we found the ones that are targeted at the UK, especially in the mainstream media, are often overly simplified. They let us know every time that there's three teams, an offense, a defense, and a special teams.
And there are 11 players on each
There's
team.
3 teams?
So if you felt that you were getting a bit frustrated about the sort of content made readily available to you, then this is what you should be listening to. We also have a website where we write articles almost daily. We've got an Instagram at The Dropback, a Twitter also at The Dropback, and a Facebook at The Dropback UK.
Okay, so I guess we should explain why we got into the sport and stuff.
Why we're here.
Why are we here? Why are we speaking about this? Why do we matter? So I'm Joe, as we previously mentioned. I've been following the sport from 2011, about Mad 11, got really into Ed Reed and Ray Lewis on the Ravens, became a Ravens fan, watched us win the Super Bowl in 2013. Lovely stuff, absolutely lovely. And I've been playing since the age of about 15, playing running back and fullback for both the Colchester Gladiators, originally the youth and junior teams there, and then on to Loughborough, where I met you guys. So the good thing about playing when I was 15 as well is that I had this, I was already 5'8". And
Wow.
Fully finished puberty, had a beard, everything, ran like reasonably
Just a whole
quick
lot of
for
man.
like,
Only Joe would brag about puberty, can we just say?
puberty was the best time. I was 15, just like huge, absolutely huge, ran crazy fast, and then ever since then it's been a disappointment, to be honest. So yeah, and then I met you guys. Yeah, I guess Matt and Salou played together in first year, and then Matt promptly left, and I was doing MMA for some reason for
Because he's a unit.
Don't fuck with me, mate. Yeah, but then I played with Salou for the next 2 years. So Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have the glittering playing career that you had early doors, Joe. I
course.
really started as a complete novice around everything American football based. My dad and my older brother were absolutely mad for it. I remember Luke trying to show me how Madden worked on the DS, and I was like, I don't know what's going
DS
on.
Madden.
Yeah,
There are
because
so many
that works.
Yeah, there were so many moving bits. That was weird.
It does sound like him to play it on the DS, to be fair.
A very Matt thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a trendsetter. So yeah, I mean, I really got into it though. I was lucky enough to be given some spare tickets to go and see the Steelers-Vikings game at Wembley in 2013 with my dad and my brother. I entered Wembley knowing absolutely nothing about American football. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know the teams. I didn't know, anything that was going to happen. And just had my mind comprehensively blown by that game. It was an absolute worldie of a game.
Worldie.
Absolute worldie of a game. AP went off for 140 yards. He took, and 2 touchdowns, one of which was a 60-yarder. I remember just standing there like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on, but this looks so cool.
Primetime AP was something else.
Primetime Vikings AP. And that game went right down to the wire. It was ended with 19 seconds to go. Emerson Griffin stripping Roethlisberger on the 6-yard line to cap the 34-27 win. It was just incredible. I left Wembley thinking, I still don't really know what I've just seen, to be honest, but that was a lot of fun. And since then, just been completely hooked. All the stats, all the games, inherited the family curse of supporting the Dolphins. What about you, Salou?
Well, my introduction to the sport was similar to yours, except a lot more lonely. I was watching it at home. It was on the TV. I thought, you know what, let's give this a go. And you're right, it was a game that's affectionately known as the Miracle at the Meadowlands.
Nice.
Hence
The
my...
first game you watched.
I know, it's pretty lucky, isn't it? Because if
It's ridiculous.
Imagine if it had been Titans v Rams, I probably wouldn't be a fan.
Yeah, like a stale 6-3.
Yeah, so
Heavy
halfway
snow.
through the fourth quarter, 3 touchdowns down, and the Eagles mount an incredible comeback. I'm like, I don't know what's just happened. this is insane.
Should have kicked it out of bounds.
I'm now an Eagles fan. Should have punted it out of bounds, exactly.
Why did that guy drop it and then pick it up and then run really far?
But now he's running really fast.
he's
He
running
doesn't
down the
really
line,
need
just
to be
getting
running
that
down the
end
side.
zone bit.
Well, yeah, what, is he allergic to the end zone?
Does he have
What's
to touch
going
the
on?
ball down?
So I was watching it through that. Never played till I got to uni, like Matt, and then we were introduced through a mutual friend, and we decided, you know what, let's give this a go. It's something we've both watched, we're both into. Let's try and play. So we went down to the trials, found out we'd missed the trials, so that could have been the end of our journey again there.
But we didn't give up.
So I played at university for 3 years, and I've been playing for a year in Senior Bowl as well, in the bottom rungs of British football with the Leeds Bobcats. So I feel...
That's such a cute name.
The Bobcats.
So I feel I've got a good appreciation for not only American football as a whole, but also the levels that we have in the UK.
Yeah.
There's a lot of underappreciation for how many games there are in the UK. People just think, it's the international series, I'll see that. And that's, I think, something else that sets us apart from other podcasts, in the fact that all three of us have experience, not only watching the game, but playing the game, having to break down game tape, and a deeper understanding of the sport.
Yeah, so speaking about practice squad heroes, which we all undoubtedly were, the little bit of football we got to experience so far into the new season has been the pre-season. And I want to know, Matt, what do you think about players who have stood out in the pre-season so far?
Well, I'm going to be a little bit biased here.
Really, that's shocking.
It's a weird one. But I'm actually going to choose a Miami Dolphins player who I think has looked pretty cool, and it's Preston Williams. If you saw the first preseason game, I mean, he looked like a receiver that's been around the league for a while. He didn't look like an undrafted free agent rookie at all. And trust me when I say this, being a part of a Dolphins offense, especially in the last 5 years, that's really tough, man. We are terrible on offense. I mean, just lousy in a lot of different ways. We have a QB battle of mediocrity who can be slightly less rubbish than each other. The O-line has one functional player on it, and maybe a half, depending on whether Michael Dyer keeps on progressing or not. It's been pretty difficult to be a functional part of a Dolphins offense for a while, and that's why, for me, Preston Williams stood out, didn't look overawed by the occasion, and made some pretty impressive catches.
Would you say Preston Williams over Devontae Parker?
No, pre-season hero Devontae Parker, that is.
Exactly. Well, you've shot yourself in the foot there, Joe. You've asked me this question way too early. See, it's pre-season. This is Devontae Parker's regular season for him. Yeah, this is where he shines.
For Devontae Parker at this point.
So, I mean, like I said, this is Devontae Parker's regular season. He absolutely loves pre-season and training camp. It's where he excels. As soon as it comes to week one, you know he's doing an ankle, you know he's in and out of the lineup for 16 weeks, and you know that we're probably going to sign him on a 1 year prove-it deal all over again.
Yeah, well, he proves it in pre-season, so that's why he's signing the deals.
Absolute fraud.
Devontae prove it Parker.
Nice.
So I've actually been quite impressed by Josh Allen this year in pre-season. I know, it's surprising. Yeah, so his only 2 incompletions against the Panthers in the second pre-season game one was a throwaway because there was too much pressure, nothing was open, which is a smart veteran move you want to be seeing from young quarterbacks. And the second one was a drop that should have gone for a touchdown. So if you take that into account, he's going 11 for 11 for about 100 yards, which is a pretty good showing. Granted, in a game that doesn't mean much, but it's positive signs for Bills fans.
Yeah, that sounds pretty darn good.
That's a good stat line, and it's nice to see that he's started to be able to throw the ball more or less where it should be.
So a good point for your quarterback. You want him to go where he's trying to get it to go.
Definitely. But I reserve judgment on Josh Allen's improvement until it comes to the regular season, because he was just so hit and miss last season, and I loved it. But
at times he looked a bit like Cam Newton in a weird, like his mobility and like his just strength and stuff. Like he would just, that time when he hurdled who did
Eric
he hurdle
Hendricks.
again?
Or was it Anthony Barr?
No, it wasn't. It was Anthony Barr. Yeah, that when he hurdled Anthony Barr, it was just like
there aren't many quarterbacks in the league that have that
yeah.
athletic quality to be able to change a game in that way. So if he can put it together on the passing side of things,
then he could be a real player.
He's definitely got the arm strength anyway. So Yeah. My one is going to be, following on from an article I did last week on Christian Wade.
Speaking of which, if everyone would check out the articles we've all written on thedropback.com,
it makes us feel a lot better about ourselves.
Yeah, it would make me feel like that it was worthwhile. So basically just like pointing out how, despite his lack of touches of the ball, how explosive he's been. If you look at his first ever touch of a football in an NFL game, he went 65 yards for a touchdown in his first preseason game. That was the only touch he had that game. And then the second ever touch he had was in week 2, was a 48-yard reception that almost could have gone for a touchdown.
Yeah. Broke 3 or 4 tackles in that and looked like a real player.
2 really, really explosive players. The thing for me is what you said about that was his only touch of the game in both instances. I'm worried about how much it's a lot to learn if you've not been around football at all to suddenly learn an NFL playbook and know exactly where you need to be. I don't think there's any shock that he's been very much drip-fed action.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he jumps off the screen when you watch him. He's got a lot of athleticism. Athletically, I think he could be a real player. But I worry about whether he'll be able to adjust to everything he needs to know, and I think that's ultimately going to be whether he makes it onto the roster or not.
I think, yeah. In some senses, at the moment, what we're seeing is basically just his athletic sort of talent, and like I mentioned in the article, he's like the 3rd highest try scorer ever in
British Premiership.
In British Premiership rugby. So I think in that sense, it's like, obviously, if he gets into the open field, he's got the ability to make plays, and he's a very quick boy.
Again, the thing is, he's 28 years old. It's how quickly he can learn the whole sport and then learn the playbook within the sport. So,
and if you look at like the other running backs they have, it's a pretty loaded department. So it's obviously got LaShawn McCoy, Frank Gore. They spent a 3rd round pick on Devin Singletary and TJ Yeldon. But I think if you actually look at the touches themselves, then I think he's outperformed TJ Yeldon at least. But like, for instance, like he's only had 4 total touches of the ball, 3 rushes, 1 reception, and he's averaging 29.3 yards per touch. So if you put it that way, like I think maybe his best chance, if we're completely honest, to actually stay with the NFL is to, using the NFL's international pathway program,
and that's proven to be effective in the past. When you look at players like FF Barder at the Carolina Panthers, how he's able to make himself a staple in the league by working hard, starting off in a practice squad, sticking to it, and then getting actual game time.
I guess the question is though, it's like if he's 28 years old now, and the sort of running, the shelf life of a running back, in a few years when he grasps an NFL offense, he's going to be 30.
He might have missed the window. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a shame because I think like we saw with Jared Hayne when they stuck him at punt return, and he was a lot of fun to watch for a few weeks.
Yeah,
I could see them doing a similar thing with Wade.
I'm surprised they haven't, to be honest.
Yeah,
he may not be effective catching the ball or a bit fumbly when the ball's coming out of the air, something like that.
That's true.
You think of like it may. Yeah, I guess it makes sense in rugby. You're more sort of like going up for the ball,
but the ball moves differently as well when it's coming down from a punt. Surprisingly, though, someone we all ruled out. I think everyone ruled out at the NFL draft. Number 6 overall pick, Daniel Jones.
Phil Jones.
From the New York Giants.
Here we go.
Instantly, that pick, they traded Odell Beckham, and everyone's like, what are you doing, Dave Gettleman? This is a waste of time. You've ruined Saquon's career. Something Joe gets very angry about if you mention.
It's just watching him fade away, pulling off the... I mean, like... Obviously, we've only
just looking 10 years into the future by the time Saquon is retiring, playing 1 year in the league. But Daniel Jones in pre-season, surprisingly effective. What do you think?
Really impressed, actually. And I mean, touching on what you said just there, I think it was one of the most wholesome moments of pre-season was watching Daniel Jones not fail in it, because it seemed like everyone was just taking lumps out of him throughout the pre-season. You've got to remember, it's not his fault that the Giants decided to spend the number 6 pick. That's if you're him, you're buzzing. Everyone should be happy for him, for this kid, but instead he gets absolutely lambasted throughout pre-season. The Giants and that pick are ridiculed for weeks. That's a really horrible environment for a rookie player to come into, and I think he dealt with it really well, and it was great to see him make some
He's looked really poised back there. He could
impressive throws. Yeah.
On that note, like we always would see like videos and stuff go out of him at training throwing pick sixes or whatever, and then to actually see him going into an NFL game, whether or not it's against this first string defense is the question. But
He's still got to make the throws.
Yeah, I would say on that note, obviously he's not against starters at the moment, so we can't get like super excited about it and be 100% that Daniel Jones is the guy until we see him in there with the.
Well, we're going on the Daniel Jones is the guy hype train after 19 passes.
Yeah, of
that's
course.
where we're going.
All
we're
in,
going
all in.
But on that note, apparently there does seem to be a bit of friction in the Giants' sort of ownership department, with head coach Pat Shermer almost saying that he wants to go with Jones for the season opener, but saying how it's the management that are sticking with Eli.
I don't know if it would do Jones any favours, to be honest, opening the season.
No, especially if they wait the 4 games until Golden Tate's back, Sterling Shepard's fully recovered from his thumb injury.
Yeah.
And then if you get a bit of help from Cody Latimer or Benny Fowler, who've both looked
decent,
consistent in pre-season after being let go from the Broncos.
Cody Latimer looks a lot better against the second string defense than the first string is what I mean. So this is the other thing. It's like Jones is when he's getting the rhythm passing going with Cody Latimer against second stringers. But if your receiver's not getting open, then it's not going to work as much.
I just think there's not a lot of point putting him into a situation that is too heavily weighted the wrong way. I mean, like I said, I completely agree. Wait a few games till you get some playmakers back. Don't throw him in at the deep end, especially with everything he's had to deal with on this off season, everything coming out of the draft. Just let him learn.
The crowd could very much swing back against Daniel Jones within a week. And
Yeah.
especially the crowd's reaction when Eli got benched the first time. And I think they've moved on since Eli played another full year, and they're almost accepted that it's towards the end of the line for him.
Yeah.
But I think the Giants, especially the ownership, are a little bit shell-shocked about the public outcry after they got rid of Eli for the first time a couple of years ago.
They really it was quite funny in hindsight to look back and realise they were like, oh God, what have we done? What have we done? That was terrible. We really shouldn't have taken him out. They really didn't expect there to be that much controversy around it.
No.
Which was hilarious.
I mean, what are you expecting when you bench someone for Geno Smith?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think that's where the difference lies. If you're benching someone for a first-round rookie because you believe him in...
Hey, he's the star of New York, mate.
The star of... What, Geno Smith?
Yeah, Geno Smith. I mean, who punched him in the face?
One of his own teammates.
Yeah. I knew it was one of his own teammates. Was it defensive lineman? Oh, God.
It was something like that, because he didn't go to a birthday party or something along those lines.
Straight out
It
of
probably
draft day, doesn't it?
wasn't warranting a punch to the face, but...
Yeah.
That
it
does sound
happened.
straight out of draft day.
That was a really weird
Fantastic
few
film,
years.
by the way.
But do you remember when Geno Smith was the Jets QB and they were like all in on him? That was such a strange.
Did you enjoy
time.
that?
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, I'm pretty sure you guys were all in on Ryan Tannehill around
We've been
that
all
time.
in on a few flops.
The Bills, at the same time, the Bills were all in on EJ Manuel. It was just a weird time for. It was a terrible quarterback draft. Really, that draft, like no one should have been drafted in the first round. Oh, I guess Geno fell to the second that year, but
All right.
Bad.
So, on a lighter note, something that we like to do in our spare time is make bets with each other. Now, because we don't really have enough money, we used
I
to
have
bet
no
meal
money,
deals
please help.
because they're only £3 from Tesco and it was round the corner from our house.
And they're delicious.
Yeah, absolutely, especially if you pick the right one.
Or some sort of
So
Subway.
last year, I may have lost slightly when I predicted that Josh Allen would be better than Baker Mayfield within 5 years.
That was a goof.
may have whiffed on that one. But has anyone got anything they want to bring to the table today, on
well,
record?
last year I also lost by claiming Alex Collins would be a better perform better than Kenyon Drake.
That was a sweet victory.
Yeah, and now it looks like neither of them will be a starter this year.
Yeah, which is just
Which brings me on to my first sandwich bet, which is actually to you, Slew.
Oh, they're not open to the table. I didn't realise I was being
No,
targeted.
I'm coming out firing this
Targeted
week, guys.
sandwich.
I've got a targeted sandwich bet for Joe. I've got a
So you're just going to call me out now if I don't take this?
Mano on mano.
Right, fantastic.
we don't need a structure, do we?
Yeah. Caution to the wind. Kalen Ballage will have more all-purpose yards than
God.
any Eagles running backs this season.
I see what you've done here.
Any of them.
Yeah, I'll take that. Do I have to name one who is going to be, or can I just?
You can have
Can I
all
have
of
the
them,
field?
bud. You can have the field. Kalen Balaj is gonna. It's not gonna be the Kenyon Drake show this season. It's gonna be.
You're going to be at least split. There's going to be split carries in both of them, and I think there's more talent on that Eagles team that can. Well, to be honest, we're going to actually sustain drives, so that helps.
That's cheap.
And we're going to be running out games, so
Nice.
Are you saying all of the Eagles?
No, any of the. No, he's
Okay,
not
I
going to
was
get.
going to say.
So the top
that's
Eagles.
ridiculous.
What I'm stating is the top Eagles rusher or the running back is going to have less all-purpose yards than Kalen Balaj.
I reckon the second Eagles rusher will have more than Kalen Balaj.
I reckon you were absolutely
Not part
wrong.
of the bet, but I'm just going to throw in a bit of shit talking there.
Nice.
Yeah, deal.
You're on. Get in.
Nice.
Sandwich in
I
the
can
bag.
confirm there was a handshake between
It's official.
Sam and Matt right now.
Joey.
Oh, hit me. Oh, are you doing?
I mean, I'll do my one for your.
If you're targeting
you know.
yours, I feel like you should just whack them
Yeah,
both out.
this
now.
this one could go pretty wrong for me, to be honest. It's,
What, and the first one's going to be fine?
Yeah, the first one's a short bet.
Okay.
The second one is that Josh Rosen will throw for more touchdowns than Lamar Jackson.
That's so stupid. I'm obviously going to take that.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Your
obviously.
little
Well,
sprinty bloke?
Josh Rosen isn't even going to start most
Josh
of the
Rosen doesn't have any
season.
legs. All he does is throw it. Your
Well,
man just runs
inevitably,
around in circles.
What's going to happen is that Ryan Fitzpatrick might have a few good games to start off, and then Josh Rosen will come in around, like, I don't know, week 8 or
Word
something.
coming out of camp and the media buzz around
Heads
the
are
Dolphins
turning.
team is that Rosen is most likely to start the season opener.
Ooh, that's
After
intriguing.
the last couple of weeks, apparently his improvement day to day has progressed massively. Apparently, a lot of the team brass are pretty happy with him, which I'm a bit shocked at. I thought it would be Fitzpatrick to open and then Rosen halfway through when we throw in the towel. But Josh Rosen with a full season as a starter.
I think if we look at the... I mean, it's hard to judge things.
Can I just say, if Joe's getting on this, I'd like to join Matt's side of the bet because I think that's going to happen as well.
Get in.
Okay, right, so I'm taking 2 sandwich bets.
Two
now.
sandwich bets if
Well,
you're up
this,
for it.
this is just unfair, but okay,
It's just not fair.
I'll do it. I get to determine what's in the sandwich. It's a whole nother game now, fellas.
I really don't
Who's
trust the
receiving the
smirk that just came over Joe's face then.
Oh, God.
That's a way better way of doing it, actually. We make the sandwiches for the other people.
I've seen your
I'm
cooking.
not going to do that.
Obviously, you can't put,
I've seen you
I've
put
seen
an
you-
egg and peanut butter together in a
Body-
sandwich.
Yeah,
at
we
2
live
a.m.
with you for a year, Joe. I'm not going anywhere near anything you make.
Hey, okay, right. I'm a changed man now. My diet is it mostly consists of fish and rice.
An actual food.
That's not really a
And
sandwich
Scotch eggs.
material, though, is it?
There was a Scotch eggs in.
I do love those fish and rice sandwiches.
If you make me a fish and rice sandwich on the back of this, then I'll accept that.
Okay,
I think that's
all
a
right.
win.
All right, so fish and rice sandwich on it.
Okay.
Can I have a meal deal on it? I don't trust your sandwiches.
But can I choose what's in the meal deal?
Fine.
Fish and rice, nice.
Right. So anyway, I think I should get onto my sandwich bet now. I'm gonna.
Can I have a sandwich bet that Joe's going to mention Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
Yep. Perhaps, but you're about to be surprised, mate. So
That's such
listen
a
up.
guilty perhaps.
No, I reckon Slew will love this one. So, basically, I'm going to throw this out there to both of you. But my sandwich bet, the first one, will be David Johnson will have 1,000 yards receiving and at least 10 receiving touchdowns. Little caveat on this one: 10 receiving touchdowns for a running back would be the highest amount of receiving touchdowns
A lot of receiving touchdowns.
a running back has ever had.
Whoa.
The previous record was Marshall Faulk in 2001 with the St. Louis Rams.
And that was the greatest show on turf.
Greatest
that he
show
was
on
a key
turf.
part of.
The great.
1,000 yards receiving and 10 receiving touchdowns.
Yes.
I am very excited for Cliff Kingsbury's
You're-
Arizona Cardinals.
you're
I
so
can't
in.
You
even
would
take
buzz
the.
off
I
this.
don't even know if they're going to be any good. I'm just so excited by the potential of it. And he's such a weapon that could be moved.
And they're
anywhere.
probably going to be down quite often as well. So you got to think they're going to be chasing games. In which case, David Johnson's receiving ability keeps him on the field.
Yeah. And also,
And the fact that he's also brilliant.
when we were looking at Texas Tech's rushing stats last season, they didn't have a single rusher with over 400 yards, and that was their QB. So
1,010.
1,000 yards, 10 receiving touchdowns.
Basically,
Basically,
it's the 10 receiving touchdowns.
That's the thing. 1,000 rushing yards. I think he'll do.
Receiving yards.
Receiving yards. Sorry, I think he'll do quite comfortably.
I think.
yeah, I don't give a.
I can't take that bet.
You can't.
I can't take the bet, and it pains
not?
me because I'm really excited. And
You're so all in
the-
on the air raid offense as well. You're not going to bite the bullet and
I
give
think
it a
the
go.
principle of the air raid offense is how much you spread the ball around.
If you had
and
any
so I
bottle-
don't think they're going to go through David Johnson the entirety of the time because they They'll attack the open areas. They'll take what the defense gives them rather than trying to force the ball to certain players or positions. I don't think it's going to happen.
What about you, Matthew?
I'm struggling because I don't know how often they're going to be in the sort of position where David Johnson can thrive. And
It was kind of exposed in the last preseason game, wasn't it? I guess.
I think that's a little bit unfair because no one's putting their entire scheme up in the preseason.
Yeah,
They're
of
going to put
course.
the simple parts of it up. You're not going to, this is our entire offense. Let's show everyone in a game that doesn't matter.
I think one thing I learned from that game, I mean, I don't mean to, like I said before, I don't want to focus everything on just the preseason, but one thing I took away from that was that they really need to improve like their discipline. There's just a lot of unnecessary penalties.
Absolutely.
And, basically, the blocking was not the best from the O-line, which seems quite crucial to the air raid system. Basically, it was Murray using his feet a lot to run around. And it's a lot of pressure on a young QB to force the ball in there. But on that,
I mean, as part of your bet, you're wanting Kyler Murray you're banking on Kyler Murray to be able to distribute the ball in the red zone pretty effectively. If you're going to get 10 receiving touchdowns from your running back,
I'm sticking with the hype for a sandwich's sake.
Wait, you're not betting against anyone. No one's taken it.
I know. That's why I've raised this bet. I'm sticking with the Kyler Murray hype, despite the fact that it's probably never going to happen.
I think he'll have a good season.
I would have liked to see some more bottle out of you two, to be honest. Like,
You've given us an unrealistic bet.
You've been
given us
talking-
something that would break records, Joe.
Yeah, well, it's like one extra touchdown on a record on a system that is completely built around basically not running with the running back.
Yeah, but you look at the St. Louis, LA Rams last year, and their whole thing, they had so many passes and screens to Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
He only ended up with 5 rushing touchdowns last year. I can't see David Johnson doubling that production.
It's a good point. I'm just trying to look up David Johnson's.
Can I counter bet you, Joe?
Oh, I was interested in that.
Oh, that's
If you drop it down to 7,
7.
then I'll do you for 2 sandwiches.
Why don't you throw in 1,000 rushing yards as well?
Whoa.
1,005. What about that? 5 through the air.
So you can either go with me, 1,000 receiving and 7 touchdowns, or Slew's giving you 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving,
adding
and 5
extra.
touchdowns. Is that what you're raising it to?
We
I
can
wasn't
just
raising it.
counter bet if we disagree. Then
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
You backed into.
You don't have to then take this.
We're just saying.
Okay, so Matt's offering me just the same bet, but 7.
But 7.
I'll raise you to 8.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd take that.
8.
I'm not going to. I would if I were you. I didn't expect. I've got to be honest. I didn't expect this first podcast to be so tense.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
This is a lot more sort of intense, creepy almost
a lot
atmosphere.
There's a lot of
That
eyes
was
going around this
expected.
table right now.
I really want to beat you guys to these bets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will you meet me in the middle at 908?
7.5.
900 receiving yards and 8. Shave off those 100 yards, Joe.
He had 3 receiving yards,
Hey.
3 receiving touchdowns last year.
Okay, 908.
They tried to reach, but Joe's got stubby little arms, and Matt can't straighten his arms, so it was an effective handshake.
No, we were told we weren't allowed to handshake anymore.
All right. So, the whole off-season, since the Super Bowl, we've heard about Todd Gurley's arthritic knee, yeah? And how they've drafted someone in the 3rd round because Todd Gurley's not going to be able to play. I think Todd Gurley doesn't miss a game through injury this year.
Wow.
Oh, I will take you on that, sir.
Yeah, I want a piece of this.
Excellent.
I think that you are wrong.
You think I'm wrong? You think he's going to miss a game?
I think he's going to miss a few games.
His knee
Now,
is literally
What
falling apart.
do we say about week 17
I was
if
just
they've
about to-
already got a...
I was about to bring you onto that because they'll undoubtedly say that he's got a knock of some sort, and they won't. If they're already in the playoffs, they're not going to risk Todd Gurley week 17.
So do we count week 17 or do we not count week 17?
but what if he's legitimately hurt week 17?
Okay, if
Where
he's-
do you draw the line?
We
if
may
he's-
have to have a neutral impact to that. Oh, you both taking the bet?
I would say in the case that on week 17 they pull him, if they're pulling him because he's legitimately injured and wouldn't have been
That's
able
what
to
I mean,
play,
yeah.
then it's
Okay.
sandwich bet is our side. But if they're pulling him just to save him, and he's like got a little niggly injury, because the thing about the running back position as well is like you're basically just
get
playing
knocked.
injured.
Yeah.
How about this?
The entire
How about
season.
this? I'm willing to say week 17. If it's a niggly one like that, and he could have played, could have not, I'm willing to like null and void the bet. I don't win because technically he didn't play them all. So if he doesn't play week 17, no one wins the bet unless it's an actual full-on
Unless he's
wouldn't
like-
play injury.
Torn ACL, yeah.
Yeah. If it's something he would have been pulled out of for, but if they're just resting him, it's fine.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll vote in on that.
I'm in.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've already
Let's go,
shook on
Todd.
it, but,
I'm going to have to draft him in my fantasy league now if I think that.
Can't wait to beat you again.
I've got another one as well actually. Since
Whoa.
Since we all
Yeah.
thought of two each.
we all
It's
thought of
funny
two
that.
each, but
Give it to
Matt
him.
decided to be weird about it. So
I just made it more confrontational.
I'm going to be the hype train guy again. I'm just going to be a little
Hype train guy.
hype boy, like the hype
Choo, choo,
wagon,
choo.
choo choo. And I'm gonna go with the Browns are gonna make it to the AFC Championship this year.
Wow, that's a big old that hype train's been going all off season.
Yeah, I know, but I thought I'd. I mean, this is what this segment is for, isn't it? Just like ridiculous things that probably aren't going to happen. So I thought,
I could
if
see
you
it.
look at it, yeah.
I could see it.
I mean, like, sorry to be this guy again, relating back to preseason games, but the only time we've seen him
That's
with
all we've got to talk about. There's
Yeah.
no issue talk about preseason
it's
games.
fine, but like without OBJ in that first pre, they sat him in week 2, but in week 1 they basically ran it like a 2-minute drill, and he went 5 for 6 for 5 for 6 for a touchdown on his only drive in week 1, and that was without Odell Beckham. And I'm just thinking when Odell gets in there, who they're obviously resting for the
Yeah,
preseason.
I'll take that. I think there's enough teams that can be in that. I think the Patriots, Chiefs, Chargers, maybe the Colts. I think they've all got a chance of making that game. And if you're giving me 4 out of 5 teams, I'll take that bet.
Yeah, I mean, I could have been a lot more lenient on this, to be honest, but I've decided to be outrageous.
Nice. The thing is, the games that I think are going to decide whether the Browns end up there, I reckon is going to be the first 4 or 5 games of the season. If they get off to a poor start and those big personalities in the locker room start turning on each other, then I can see that team plummeting. If they get off to a fast start and they can maintain that and they're not...
If they get off to a slow start, they're not going to make the AFC Championship game because they won't have a bye. There won't be a home field.
I mean, yeah. but
Regularly, it's people
the
with home
home
field
field,
unless
teams
you're
get
the
through during the playoffs.
2012 Ravens who
All right,
went
Joe,
in
unless
on
you're
a
the
wild
2000
card and made it to the AFC Championship.
But at the same
game,
time-
then actually went on to win the Super Bowl that year. That's really intriguing. That's an intriguing one. Yeah.
Worst year.
And we all know
elite.
that team had a really,
Elite.
really, really elite quarterback.
Yeah, we know it. For a small stint. of time.
Unquestionably not terrible.
Hey, if
Definitely
you watched
wasn't
that
a
Broncos
defensive-led
game,
team.
that was amazing. It was watching Peyton Manning methodically tear us apart. Look, 5-yard dunk, 7-yard dunk, 10-yard dunk, boom, and then Joe Flacco would just load up a big shot and just plonk it all over it.
Plonk it. Plonk.
Joe the Plonker Flacco. I almost said Costanzo then.
Plonk
but-
master.
Going back to your bet, Joe, I think I will take it. I
Yeah.
think it will.
So that's what, 5 out of 6 bets taken? No, all of them.
Yeah,
with
all
one-
of them. With a negotiation.
with a
in the middle,
negotiation.
yeah.
All right. Is that not 6? Because I've only said 1. I just forgot about that. Only 3 division winners will repeat in 2019.
Ooh.
You can have.
Well, we
any-
know the Pats are out of the question.
Wait, you're saying any above or any below?
No more than 3. Not exactly 3. That'd be a weird thing to do.
That would be odd.
Only 3.
3 out of 8.
Who have you got? Who's your 3 that you've got? Out of interest.
Just
Pats.
throwing it out there.
Ugh.
Well, they never
Obviously.
do it, Matt. The Dolphins going to nip him. Is that going to happen?
Looking to 4th.
Josh Rosen's going to take us to the AFC Championship.
Josh Robinson's going to take us to the first overall pick.
Pats, Chiefs, and Saints.
Okay.
Are we sticking to those?
No.
No?
No,
You're
I'm not gonna-
allowed to.
I'm a bit-
Yeah,
I'm
you're
a
not
bit
limiting
worried.
You
yourself.
don't like your LA Rams?
Yeah. What's wrong with the Rams, eh?
I am a big fan of the 49ers this year.
Wow.
I've been
I
hearing
know.
mixed.
if you say that 5-pick thing for Jimmy Garoppolo, is that what he's going with, Joe? Joe's sticking his tongue out at me. But
looks like he's been turning heads in the opposite direction.
Wow.
That's the old classic,
I mean, you are putting a lot of faith into a quarterback who actually hasn't played in that many games yet.
Hey,
it's more my faith in Kyle Shanahan.
what was your stat on Jimmy Garoppolo's games per?
Oh yeah,
you had some ridiculous
Jimmy the mercenary Garoppolo,
the mercenary,
entering his age 27, 6th season in the NFL, has already made $45 million.
That is a crazy amount.
That's a lot more than I've made.
He's played in 36 games.
That's not
for each game
games.
he started. He's made about $4.5 million.
Wow.
Ooh.
He's got about $2.6 million for every touchdown he's thrown, which is 17.
Wow.
Oh.
And for every pass he's thrown, $125,000.
Oh, I would
He's an
just
expensive man.
love that. Just throwing awful. No. I'll say it.
Just throwing the ball, getting the money, throwing the ball again.
I'd be just throwing the ball at my running back's feet on screens every time. Just
It doesn't actually work that way. It's not actually in his contract that every
is a
time he throws it.
coincidence, yeah.
It's just the way it's
This is
worked
the way
out
I'm
for how little
envisioning
he's
it
played.
in the
It's just
system.
Imagine if contracts were made like that.
well, he said,
Every
yeah,
time
I
you
want 100
attempt
grand
to
every time I
pass,
throw it, mate.
Air raid.
Yeah, so I
you gotta
reckon
pay me. You gotta pay me.
if you're paying that sort of premium for a player, it's because he's good.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's not just because you're QB desperate?
Maybe a bit of both, but he's shown some potential when he has been on the field.
They made him the highest paid QB ever without really having played any. He started 2 games and then he got injured in his second one. Or he might have started 3.
It was after he went 6-0. It was after that off-season.
Of course.
Which, when you look at it, makes sense because he was a free agent. You've just taken a crappy team to 6 wins on the bounce.
Was it 6-0?
Paid him,
Or was it? Was it?
Yeah, I think it was 6-0.
He didn't lose a single game. I thought he might have lost 1. I'm not sure, but
He definitely didn't lose a game. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But
The main issue here is he's just coming off a big ACL tear.
Yeah, he played in 6 games.
yeah,
That can really derail it. I mean, I know he doesn't rely on his legs a lot. He's a throwing QB, but
he's fairly mobile though. He's
but it's
quite,
not a core
it's not his
part
whole
of his
game.
Yeah, no,
If Lamar
definitely
Jackson
not.
tore his ACL, Joe, I
Oh,
think you'd have to
God,
scrunch him up and put him in the bin.
don't
To be
start.
honest,
Well, that's basically what happened to RG3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every time it's ironic that RG3 is his backup as well, and
Yeah.
he's also injured at the moment. But
How's he injured? He never gets what?
his legs don't work due to
his
too many hits.
shoulder is just all kinds of
his shoulder?
not working.
Just a mangly boy.
It's not really nothing really works on him anymore.
So either way, before we got sidetracked by how much Jimmy Garoppolo has been paid for not doing very much, I still have enough faith in him, and more importantly, Kyle Shanahan, to be an absolutely explosive
George Kittle.
offense this year. And I think the Rams are going to take a step back.
Ooh.
Because it's natural. Teams take steps back. But you don't think they will?
It's a team that is built to win right now.
Yeah.
And then did
right now, but they came pretty close
Yeah, until the most boring Super Bowl of all time.
until Sean McVay coached himself out of a Super Bowl win.
The Niners have
Essentially,
improved on defense. They've got receivers that are healthy now, unlike
true.
last year. Last year they had no receivers, no QBs. Then their running back went down, and then they only had a tight end, and he still managed to get Kittle open.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, but I think that just tells how good a player Kittle is, and also at the same time, you're saying the Niners have improved.
So you've got a
defense,
really
but
good tight end, and then
but-
you've also got weapons around him now.
Are the Niners defense better than the Rams defense? I don't
They're up one
think
Nick
so.
Bosa, to be fair.
Oh,
I
that's
think that's-
true. Nick Bosa is
If you
currently
take out-
injured, isn't he? Or he might have a little niggle.
He's going to be fine for the regular season,
Yeah, I'm just
but you're stirring the pot.
bit concerned. The little Bosa boys have got
Right,
some
so-
injury issues.
Right, so is anyone going to take me on the bet? Because I feel we got sidetracked a bit.
Um,
No more than 3 repeat champions.
I feel that's not like. I don't actually think that's worth taking, to be honest.
I think
because
it'll be less.
Do you think there'll be
Yeah.
less than 3?
think
because when you think
less.
3 is almost half of the divisions in football,
How many do you think there'll be?
I think 3 is pretty much bang on what it will be. I don't think it will be above. So I just think there's too many options. Like the
Yeah.
Saints could always like lose to
What happens if
the
Drew Brees gets
Panthers
injured?
or Yeah.
You got Teddy Two Gloves.
That's not a place you want to be.
No, it's not, is it?
Teddy Two Gloves.
You're just bitter that he would rather be a backup than start for the Miami Dolphins.
What person in their right mind would not want to start behind that O-line?
All right, so our next segment of the show is called Would You Rather. So basically, we put a fictitious statement out there, an option between two avenues for the other members to choose from, and whoever picks first gets first run of the litter. But then whoever run to the litter.
There's run to the
Have you never heard?
You wouldn't choose if you're getting the run to the litter. You wouldn't choose it.
It's the last one left.
Both of my options are the run to the litter, mate. So why don't you pipe down? So
Unbelievable.
right. So
You also might recognise this game from any playground you've ever been in.
it's just a simple game of would you rather. Okay, I'm going to give you two options. You can choose whichever you want, but whoever wants to go first, just pipe up and you get to choose. So on the caveat that both of these options have to start for the entire year,
This is going to be a
Josh Rosen or Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Josh Rosen.
Okay.
100% Josh Rosen.
All right, and why?
Because, I mean, are we doing it sensibly in terms of, what would be best for the Miami Dolphins going forward? It'd 100% be to see what you can get out of Josh Rosen for a season. If he's crap, dump him off. If he's good, then you've got something to work with. Starting Fitzpatrick for the whole year makes zero sense. He is the journeyman. He's there for a season 2 tops. You've got to see what you get from Rosen. It's got to be Rosen.
But what if... Okay, no. So
I'm going with Fitzpatrick then.
Yeah.
Excellent. This is a choice I wanted.
Convincing.
So, Josh Rosen, we've basically seen what he can do. He's not very good. He takes entire minutes almost, it seems, to release a ball. He'll drop back, he'll scan, he'll keep scanning. He may see something, now he's going to tuck that ball away. And then he'll try and run. And he can't run. And as we've recently seen, Ryan Fitzpatrick is out here trucking people.
Oh, God.
So when the Dolphins wide receivers inevitably can't get open, what's Ryan Fitzpatrick going to do? He's going to run, he's going to run, he's going to run, and then he's going to put on some swaggy clothes.
Yeah, he's going to pop a shoulder in there.
Exactly.
It's a well-known fact that Ryan Fitzpatrick is a dual-threat QB.
I mean, he's pretty good at dual threat, and he'll pump the ball downfield long. He might throw interceptions, but he'll also throw touchdowns. Josh Rosen just won't do anything.
Okay. All right. I think I've made a decision. I personally want to choose Ryan Fitzpatrick, but you didn't even mention...
I went with the wrong argument. That was
You really did.
I could do it again.
No.
I feel that was a really bad... I don't know.
You could have mentioned the Fitzmagic or,
I don't even think I needed to mention Fitzpatrick. It's just the aura's there already.
Pulling off, a few 300-yard games, but I think you kind of shot yourself in the foot with that one, so I'm going to have to go with Matt. I'm
Go with
afraid.
the vanilla option.
Yeah.
The
little
boring, predictable,
vanilla.
sensible option.
Makes
Everyone
sense. I mean,
picked before me
you
was a
backed Joe
mistake.
Flacco for about 5 years, so
Yeah, 5 years too long.
you should have seen that coming.
So you should have never backed him. Is that what you're saying?
No, I should have backed him exactly to the point where I did back him when he won the Super Bowl, and then I should have scooted off that train.
Skewed.
But yeah, he's still elite, so let's see what
Still
he does with the
elite.
Broncos.
Excellent.
All right. So the Cowboys, they've had a little bit of a nightmare this offseason. Zeke's bunged off to Cabo. Don't know what. Dak Prescott's demanding $40 million because Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback and deserves $40 million.
It's a lot of money for someone that can't throw an accurate pass.
And Amari Cooper needs paying as well.
Everyone needs paying.
All three of these players are going to get paid near the top of their positions when all's said and done. Apparently, they've all turned down top 5 deals already.
Wow.
Amari's turned down a top 5 deal.
They've offered it to all of them.
Amari needs to
Chill his beans?
Yeah, Amari needs to. I mean,
you need to calm
You had
down,
a nice
sir.
end of the season,
All right.
dude, but you're Amari Cooper.
So if you've got the money, you're not going to be able to afford Dak as well as Zeke and Cooper, along with all of the contracts that the Cowboys have coming up in the next few years. They've got Jalen Smith.
yeah.
They got Byron Jones, who was a
Byron Jones is a
revelation
big one,
last year
yeah.
at corner. So, do you re-sign Dak, or do you re-sign Zeke and Amari Cooper?
I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say Zeke and Amari Cooper here.
Okay.
The reason I'm going to say that is because it's a simple fact that when Zeke isn't in the game, Dak is a lot less effective of a QB. Also, who the hell is he going to throw it to if it isn't Amari Cooper? I mean, he could be throwing it to Jason Witten, but we know how that went last time. at the end of the day, Zeke is one of the best running backs in the league, if not, in some would argue, the best running back in the league.
He's good.
Last
He does a job.
You're waiting on.
Keep coming.
You've been past some sly facts here.
That's an allegation that I don't take lightly, and I would like that struck
Collusion.
from the record.
Okay, I strike it from the record. But what I'm going to say is Zeke is one of those backs. He's a feature back, and he
Generational talent.
yeah,
That's what you say.
Everyone's a generational talent. Apparently, there's 15 every generation. Sorry, Joe.
Okay, so he can catch out of the backfield, he can block, he can run the ball. Amari Cooper was the best thing they had, a receiving target last year. If you take away all of Dak's options, who's Dak going to throw it to, especially if he's clogging up all the money holes?
He's doing the what? He wasn't clogging up.
all the money holes are filled.
So that's your argument, basically, is that
Basically,
Zeke and Amari is so good that you can't afford to let them slip.
No, my argument is if Dak's taking a $40 million contract,
a lot of
then
money.
How are they going to pay to replace Zeke and Amari Cooper?
So my counter argument to this is that when you look at the importance of position and how easy it is to replace what you would think is a franchise QB or what the Cowboys owners think is a franchise QB, as opposed to how difficult it is to replace a top running back, it's a lot harder to find a QB, and it's a lot easier to be able to get wide receivers and running backs on cheap rookie deals that can contribute early than it is to completely rebuild again at the quarterback position. I mean, you only have to look at Pollard in the most recent preseason game. Great touchdown, looked really impressive. You can read into what you will, but Jerry Jones is a big fan. It might be because he thinks that Pollard's going to save him a few bucks on the Zeke deal.
Who even is Zeke? That's the question.
What's a Zeke? But I think from a building a franchise to last perspective, you've got to go with if you think you've got a known quantity at quarterback, you've got to stick with it.
I would. Can I have a small rebuttal? Or
You don't let me have anything about Ryan Fitzpatrick, so no.
Okay.
No, go for it.
Okay, well, my small rebuttal there would be that I would say that all likelihood is next year you could probably find someone as talented, if not more talented than Dak.
But it depends where they're going to be picking. If the Cowboys go 9-7, 8-8, something like that, that's a reasonable probably expectation for that team. If you're picking that late, I don't think you're going to get a Justin Herbert or anyone like that. I don't think you're going to get a Tua. You're not going to be able to get someone at that position in the draft, I think, that can straight away come in and run the offense.
It depends if Zeke's playing the whole year or not, but yeah.
All right. So it was the point you made about how difficult it is to find a starting quarterback in this league. And you look at running backs that have been drafted in the second, third, fourth round, have been able to come in and make a name for themselves, but also been a key fixture in offenses. And then you look at the teams that have won Super Bowls as well. Recently, they haven't necessarily had that star running back, but they've had a committee, they've had a good O-line, and they've had a good quarterback. And you just didn't convince me that Dak was bad enough,
I think,
to go with your side of the argument.
And for the record, I think Dak's pretty bad.
I think he's bad as well. I
should
thought
have
he
said
was
that.
a below. That's what I said. He was a below average QB that you could
You'd have
replace.
wrangled me into the corner if he'd gone with that one.
I think, yeah, I was kind of screwed there. In fact, because
You picked the wrong option,
no matter
Joe.
what I said,
you came
there,
out swinging and whiffing.
Yeah, but no matter what I said there, that Slew was always going to go with the QB option. It was like, oh yeah, you can always replace running backs and wide receivers and everyone else on the team because they're all useless. The quarterback's the only thing that matters.
Claiming
That's why Kyler Murray's so good.
A
And
QB-ist agenda from
air raids
Slew.
work. I would say Slew would put the air raid offense with Dak Prescott if he could.
I wouldn't have Dak Prescott, but Matt convinced me to have Dak Prescott.
Just sweet convincing chap.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, so my one
Right.
for you guys is a bit of a situation one. You are, say you are a head coach coming into the league. You have exactly 2 years to win the franchise that you're coaching a Super Bowl. That's your window, 2 years. Don't get done 2 years, you're fired. You have the choice of the LA Rams or the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh,
Who do you pick?
you can go.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, give it to me.
Well, the first point is that in the next year or two, you're going to have to give Jared Goff a contract. So that they're already right up against the salary cap anyway. You're going to struggle to build. The team got close, but how are you going to afford that extra little bit to get you over the hump if you're then paying your quarterback tens of millions of dollars a year? Well, probably about 30, 40. We're going to reckon Goff's going to get paid.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. And
By the end, by all said and done,
Depends how much that gets, doesn't it? Really.
Todd Gurley's knees as well.
Todd Gurley's knees. I'm not got as much of an issue about that because that's the type of thing. In 2 years, I think he'll be fine. It's if he gets to the net contract that I'm worried about. Look at the Chiefs. You look at Patrick Mahomes, who is going into the third year of his rookie deal. They've got a 5-year option there. You don't have to pay Patrick Mahomes for another 3 years. So if you haven't won by then, doesn't matter. You don't have to deal with the contract.
It's out the window. It's fine.
Because you're fired anyway.
Exactly. Not your problem.
You got Tyreek Hill, who's an electric piece. You've just signed Mecole Hardman, who is almost as fast as Tyreek. Great hands and a good route runner. And then if you've got Sammy Watkins as your third receiver, you play. And then you've got Travis Kelce as well. I think the weapons that Kansas City Chiefs have is just next level. And their quarterback is able to win games on his own more than you can with the LA Rams.
It's a nice offense. What do you think, Joe?
I think Slew's just kind of focused on the offense there, and he's not paid any attention to the fact that the Chiefs' defense compared to the Rams' defense right now is just not even comparable. I mean, like,
Oh, but I'm an excellent defensive drafter, so that's not an issue.
That's the caveat here.
so like if you look at Aaron Donald, the defensive
miss
MVP
him.
last year, defensive player of the year. Eric Weddle coming in from my
Eric
team,
Weddle's 57 years
the
old.
Ravens. No, he's a cool 35 and he loves it. And the secondary on the Rams, I think is just leaps and bounds above what the Chiefs have. The ability to rush the passer. Pretty much on every single front, the advantage goes Rams in terms of defense. Then you look at the offense, and Todd Gurley was still an MVP candidate last year. Jared Goff, it might not be the best QB, but we've got Sean Mc. Oh, no, I guess we don't have Sean McVay. We've got me.
Yeah, I always tend to say, look how good Andy Reid is. And I'm not as good as Andy Reid.
I'm now running
ousted
Sean
him.
McVay's system, and
With no
I'm
pride.
sure he'll be your OC if you ask him nicely. And then you can
yeah,
just sort of...
I'm sure he will. But Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp's a good one, and then
Cooks
we've
was
got
good last year.
we've got a pretty good O line as well. So
Both your corners are free agents after the season.
yeah, but we got.
Well, you were talking about how good your defense is.
yeah, but right.
So
now.
you have to win it now. Are you...
Yeah, but
Yeah, better than last year when you didn't win it?
So we've got 2 years to do this. So I think we've got more likely chance of winning it now than you do winning it in the next 2 years with that defense.
We were a
personally.
penalty away from winning it. You got smacked.
Okay. I think I am going to lean more towards Joe here because I think he did a good job of outlining that the Chiefs' defense is not fun. And
Who needs defense when you got Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah,
at
big
some point
slew
you will
argument
need
again.
some defense.
We just had Patrick Mahomes on the field, hike the ball to himself and run around.
Just
and
you're gonna need
throw
60
touchdowns
points
to
from you
himself.
this week.
You don't need
Patrick.
any other positions on the
I
field.
did say Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Oh, Tyreek Hill.
Well, he'll be on the field. He's a good boy.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Joe on this one.
Fair enough.
Commiseration is slow.
Lovely. Oh, I really didn't think I'd win one, to be honest, lads.
Try not to be so sad.
Yeah, I don't-
Back yourself a little bit. Yeah, so on the back of those would you rather questions, we've also got our own sort of segment, which is the same sort of thing, except a bit more focused and a little bit more sort of NFL UK based. So obviously in the last few years, there's been a lot of franchise movery. LA teams springing up. The Jaguars are frequently rumoured to come to London. So we've decided to do a sort of hypothetical fantasy world where the UK gets their franchise. So it's going to be a London-based franchise. I'm going to give you two scenarios. Joe and Slew, you are the team's GMs.
They're on a bad foot already.
It's a
but-
brand new project. They've gone with a controversial 2GM look.
I think more controversial is who they've appointed in this 2GM look.
Yeah, I don't know
But-
how you've managed to get this job. There's
think-
not a lot on your
yeah, I
CVs to
think-
say you're remotely qualified.
I'm general and you're manager.
Yeah, so with this one, I'm going to be
manager.
posing you big decisions to make for this franchise. And essentially, there's going to be two options. They're not necessarily going to be particularly good options, but it's the position that you guys are in. and you're going to have to pick an option and argue most convincingly for it. I'm not after how much sense it makes. I'm after who shows me the most passion and who is all in on their decision.
So it's basically Dungeons and Dragons, but instead of rolling a dice, we make an argument.
Yeah, if you're a massive virgin, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not dragons, but
I'm going to spoil this here. There's a very little amount of dragons in this early round.
a lot of dungeons.
What about the team name?
Continued.
Oh,
The team name, we've
Dragons.
just gone with it's
Dragons.
It's the London Monarchs.
The London
reborn.
Dragons.
No,
The London Fire Breathers.
You're very close to losing your GM role. Yeah, so let's dive straight in with the first sort of scenario. So everything's still very fresh. London Monarchs are reborn. You two, the big decision makers, is the only sort of major decision that's happened so far. So there's a few sort of things we need to sort out. The first one I'm going to ask you is sort of more admin based, but very important.
Excellent.
The second one is a bit more team orientated. So your first question is, we need to find a division. We need to find a conference and a division for this new team. The NFL, that no one's moved over and jetted over to London. This is a brand new franchise. You'll be stacked into a division. That division will then have 5 teams. That's just the reality of this bizarre world that we're going to live in.
Bizarro world.
The bizarre world. The postseason picture is still exactly the same. Division winners and 2 wildcards. So nothing changes there. I'm going to need an answer from each of you as to what division you want to enter into and why. So to make it fair, we're going to flip a coin.
We should have been doing this the entire time.
We should have.
Yeah.
So, Slew, give me heads or tails.
tails.
It is tails. Would you like to answer the first question first or answer the second question first?
I'll go first question first.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, so Slew, what division do you want our new team to be in and why?
I would like the AFC East.
Explain. And watch what you say about the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, the beatable. No, but so the AFC East, it's the closest geographically. You can fly over. You've got the Bills, the Jets, New England, all positioned in the northeast of the country already.
That's pretty sensible.
You've got the Miami Dolphins, who are further south, but the flight isn't as long as it could have been. Say if you're in the NFC East and have to fly all the way to Dallas. This way you can play your home games and your away games like a regular team would. You wouldn't have to worry about playing 8 away games in a row because, let's face it, that's going to do absolutely...
That's a drainer.
It's going to kill your morale of the team if you've not got any cheering for
8
half
weeks.
the season in a row. That's
Just being
it's going to
abused
kill you.
continuously.
And additionally, you look at Tom Brady and the Patriots, and I know people have been saying it for years, but at some point they've got to drop off.
And you think there's a window here?
I think there's a window. The Miami Dolphins are on rebuild mode. The Jets have pretty much gone all in on Sam Darnold. If he doesn't turn to
And
be the
Adam
answer,
Gase.
and Adam Gase, who you love.
Fraud.
So if that doesn't work out, they could be in a similar situation. The Bills, I do like what they've done this offseason, but they're not an Eagles or a Chiefs or a Rams that are in a position to challenge for the Super Bowl right away. I think you can eke
Like
some
how you
wins
slipped
out
Eagles in there.
inside.
I was going to say.
Pardon?
Nothing. You just slipped Eagles in there for obviously.
I can see us winning games in that with what's going to start as a lower level squad. We're not going to be able to get many players in free agency because they're not going to want to come to London as much.
Whoa. London is...
I know it's great, but just as an
We have
American,
a massive wheel. Are you
we do
aware
have a
of
big
that?
wheel. If there's any Americans listening, come into London, look at the wheel. You'll
It's
have
honest.
fun.
It's even bigger in person. It's a huge wheel.
So yeah, the AFC East.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Okay,
Joe.
that was a very sensible answer, Slew. And I'm going to go the complete opposite direction here, and I'm going to pick
can't
the
afford it.
NFC East
Wow.
because.
You like-
if there's one division we're ever going to pick in NFL that's got the media headlights all over it with the Cowboys, the Eagles, these massive fan bases with the Giants, what they're going through right now, I think pick the NFC East, put London in the same picture as all these other teams
Whoa.
in their big fan bases because
Straight
at
in
the
the
end of the
middle.
day, what happens is right. All these London fans are going to naturally flock towards. As at best a second team, but probably in most cases,
we'll grow on them. We'll try and grow on them.
if an NFL franchise came here today, would you turn up to quite as many games as you could
100%,
really,
yeah.
like reasonably afford as like an actual NFL fan. So I think the fan base here will be so strong and so passionate that we could tangle with the likes of the Eagles. We could tangle with the likes of Dallas. Why the hell not?
Straight in the deep end.
I say screw it. Let's go NFC East. Media headlights on us all the time. I don't care how the distance between, now we're on the NFC East because it's more logical for traveling over here. No, I want to be in the spotlight. I want money.
Nice.
That's what I want.
And that'll be the tagline.
I want money.
I want money.
You know, the Raiders have got just win, baby. Ours is just, I like money.
I like
Not
money.
put London on the map.
No,
Who's our owner, by the way?
money. Well, we'll meet the owner at some point in the future when I decide who it is.
So we haven't met him yet.
No.
That's Jerry Jones.
Could it be Alan Sugar?
That would be amazing.
Boris Johnson.
I'm going to have to give that win to Joe.
Yeah, I would have given it to
I
Joe
love it.
myself. I love the passion.
You love it.
I love just take London and just smash it right in the middle of that
Yeah,
picture.
just put it in the
Doesn't
meat
matter
grinder.
how we play. That's by the wayside. Let's just stick us in there.
Yeah, you can't baby sugarcoat us and be like, oh yeah, we'll put you on training wheels to start. No, screw it.
Let's get
Why the
banned.
hell not? And we've still got the Giants 2 times a year, so
And the Redskins.
and the Redskins with their
Nice.
mangly knees.
Okay, well, I think that's a convincing win there. We are straight into the NFC East. Okay. This next question is going to be quite interesting, even more so now. You need a head coach. A brand new team. You need to establish an identity. You two have obviously got ideas about how you want your team run, but you need to find the right head coach that fits the culture and can really help build this. So, as a result of you sort of springing up from nowhere, there's been a lot of mystery about the London team. A lot of people have got, how successful is it going to be? What's it going to be like completely transitioning over to living in the UK? Your head coaching hasn't gone well in the scouting department. You've actually only had 2 applicants for the position.
It's not what you want, is it?
It's not. The good news is they've both got previous head coaching experience in the NFL, and they've both been around the league for a while.
So it always helps, although judging by your face, no, that's not going to be helpful.
It's not going to be helpful. But, every cloud, they're not complete newbies. So your 2 candidates are, and remember, Joe will be picking his answer first and then saying his answer first. Your
Okay.
2 candidates are Hugh Jackson
Okay.
and Joe Philbin. Big ouch. A lot of experience in that room, though.
Yeah, sort of.
There's a lot of experience here, and I think in terms of what we need to do from the get go is draft a QB, and let's get a QB spokesman in here. Let's get Hugh Jackson. I say that what he's built now with the Browns, going a few off years, but
Yeah.
look at them now. And
Okay.
if we could be in the same position, we're not saying Hugh Jackson's going to be here for the long term. We're saying Hugh Jackson's going to be here initially. In 2 years,
Don't tell Hugh Jackson that.
hey, if Hugh Jackson gets us to 1 and
1 and 15. Is that where we're setting the ceiling?
no, I'm
We're not going 1 and 31.
no, I was going to go 1 and 31. Even hypothetically, we go 1 and 31 and get a bloody amazing team out of it from some great general manager work by the famous duo, then we pick up a great QB and let's just sod him off at the end of the day.
Sod him off. That's your argument.
Where's your
Sod him off.
loyalty, sir?
So, also, I mean, in his last season, he didn't even do too terribly. 5 wins.
Ended
or
up
so.
at the Bengals with the back half the season.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
he's
assistant's role.
he's a well versed. He's a well experienced. He's always sticking around. He's
a wise head.
he's always somewhere, and he's a QB whisperer, and that's what we need with a young QB that I expect will be in here in a few years.
Must be a reason he's lingered around so many NFL teams.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Because he's loved by Marvin Lewis.
Well, that brings me on to you, Slew. Fight for Joe Philbin.
I'll fight for Joe Philbin, but I'll also fight against Hugh Jackson.
Wow.
Look how much Baker Mayfield hates Hugh Jackson. Why would you want your team suffering through 2 years,
Immature.
at least? But you just said you wanted someone like Baker Mayfield. Why would you want your team subjugated to that sort of depressive atmosphere that Hugh Jackson brings? It's his way or it's no way. You just said you want to make a scene. You want to go in there, show who's boss. Hugh Jackson going, oh, yeah, we'll try it. We'll go with the safe option.
Hey, we're all going for a swim in the Thames at the start of this.
The Thames?
The Thames.
That's how you'd announce him. Is that you dunk
You'd dunk him in the
Hugh Jackson in
Thames.
the Thames? Nice. So yeah, not a fan of Hugh Jackson.
I'm not a fan of Hugh Jackson. I'm not a fan of the way he puts down his team. I'm not a fan of the way he's unwilling to put himself... How he's not willing to put himself out there for his team, for his franchise, for his city. Mm-hmm. And Joe Philbin will do that. He may not... even when he doesn't think he can win, he kept Aaron Rodgers out there. Doesn't matter that he was injured. He was going to win games. At Miami, he trusted Ryan Tannehill to do. He trusts his players.
Yeah.
He will do what it takes to win with what he has. He won't settle for losing, and he'll push his team to the limits.
Well, I think I'm going to go with Joe Philbin on this one.
Yeah.
I like the angle that Slew took there. I mean, Joe Philbin famously told Miami's defenders in practice to not go so hard on Ryan Tannehill to try and up his confidence. We need that sort of support. Doesn't matter if the QB can actually throw or not. So I think
he won't be able to.
Yeah, 100% not. But yeah, okay, brilliant. So we've established, first and foremost, we're going to be in the NFC East with Joe Philbin at the helm.
Oh,
good stuff, guys.
Winning formula already.
yeah, this is good stuff.
Feeling a big old 7-9 season.
I'm feeling exactly way less than that. Obviously.
Nice.
All right, so that's everything for today. Thanks, guys. Tune in next time for a continuation on the Joe Philbin-led London Monarchs.
The Joe Philbin era, I would like to say.
It's starting. It's starting, guys.
It starts here.
And make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dropback and Facebook at The Dropback UK. We've also got a website, thedropback.com. Articles posted there basically every day.
Yeah, most days.
I've been Sam. Thanks for listening.
I've been Matt.
And I've been Joe.
Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.